Welcome to the second lesson in our series, What is Money? On Shine On Me, and this is the history of money. Our learning goal today is to understand how money started, changes over time, and why it is still important today. The key words we'll first touch upon is barter, which is trading goods or services without the use of money. Money, which is a tool used today instead of trading items directly, and coins, which are round pieces of metal used as money. We'll also talk about bills, which is paper money, and digital money, which is when we use money on cards or online. To begin, there was the barter system where people first didn't use money and instead traded things like food, clothes, or tools. For example, a farmer gave eggs to get bread from a baker. However, the problem was that it was hard to trade unless both people wanted what the other had. Next, there were the first forms of money, and to make trade easier, people used things like cowrie shells, salt, or beads and stones, and they used this because it was rare and special, and it showed the first forms of currency. Next, we have coins and metal money, and it was when people started making coins out of metal, such as gold, silver, or copper, and coins were strong and easy to carry, and it held value. Moving on, we're first introduced to paper money in China over 1,000 years ago, and this was a lot easier to carry than the heavy coins that they previously had, and now every country has their own kind of paper money. Now, getting closer to the end, we have banks and cards. People started using banks and utilized this as a way to keep their money safe, and credit cards and debit cards were made to help people spend money easier. Lastly, we now have the development of digital money, and this is when we can use money without even touching it. Some examples could be online shopping, phone payments, or digital wallets. This is my attempt to draw a wallet. For our activity of this lesson, we're going to draw a timeline of money of what we learned, and this is the timeline I drew as an example, so make sure to follow and also make your own. And with the knowledge we now have, things we could talk about is what kind of money do you see the most today? And what do you use the most often to buy things you want? Or can you imagine a world with no money? As always, these are just suggestions, so feel free to think of your own questions and discuss. With our lesson slowly coming to an end, I'd like to give a brief summary. First, money started with barter, and it changed a lot over time. Now we use coins, paper, cards, or even phones as different forms of money. And lastly, money helps people trade and meet their needs easily, therefore maximizing efficiency. That was it for our lesson on the history of money, and keep watching for anything economics on Shine On Me.